Hello guys, good afternoon. How are you?
Hi, teacher. Fine, and you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Hi, teacher. Pretty good. Thank you.
Hello Tam, that's great to hear. I think somebody else was gonna talk. Was it Tani or Fardy?
Was me. Good evening.
Good evening, Fardy. How are you?
Fine, and you, teacher?
I'm doing great, thanks for asking. Okay, well, Fardy, you haven't done the writing part, so let me go ahead and send you the instructions first. Because you couldn't come midnight, join early on Monday, so let me go ahead and send you that first. And then I'm gonna let you know the rest of you what you're gonna be doing. Just give me a second. Wait, here we go. Yeah, let me send it just a second. Okay, there in the chat of the meeting, Fabri, you're going to see the writing assignment. Okay, so you can start working on that. Okay, guys. For you, what we're gonna be doing today is the following. As you know, we're still gonna be talking a little bit about economics. On Monday, we had our sort of introduction class where we watched the video, we had the reading, we had a lot of things. However, today we're gonna go a little bit more. Now that we already have this background in economics, now we're gonna go a little bit deeper into the whole topic of economics. So for today, what I'm gonna be asking you to do, it's to create a forgot the word, an infographic. You're gonna be creating an infographic, and I'm gonna be giving you a specific topic. So let me go ahead and write them here on the chat. Okay, there we go. So we have supply and demand, perfect and imperfect competition, unemployment and inflation. Okay. That's pretty much going to be for Ale, Tani, and Tam. So do you guys have any specific likes or dislikes in regards to the topics? Like, I mean, first come, first serve. So who wants to take supply and demand? Let me just assign them randomly. I think that's gonna be easier.
Me, teacher.
Okay, Tani. Okay, Tani, you can take supply and demand. Perfect and imperfect competition is gonna be for Tam. And Ale, you're gonna be doing research about unemployment and inflation. Okay, so let's go ahead and take some time so you can create an infographic where you can explain this in the clearest way possible. Imagine no, this is a presentation for the rest of the class, so we can get to know more about this and how to perceive, how to know more about the inflation, because people talk a lot about inflation. So how can we perceive, or how can we talk about that, or fully understand how that goes? Okay, so we're gonna have that, and even for supply and demand, perfect and imperfect competition, and unemployment and inflation. Questions, comments, concerns?
Teacher, I can do it on PowerPoint, right?
Why don't you try to do an infographic?
Okay.
I mean, besides you're the graphic designer here. You're the one who could actually blow our minds away. No, I mean, but if you find it too difficult to do it on an infographic or something, you can always resort to a PowerPoint. There is no problem with that. But let's see how much it takes. I'm thinking around, just to start, around 25 minutes. If you need more time, of course, we can discuss about that. There's no problem. But let's just start with around 25 minutes to work on that. And also while we give also Faudi some time to finish with the writing assignment. It's already 6:15, so let's go ahead. It will be 6:40. So at 6:40, we're gonna check again to see either if you need more time or if you're ready, and you can go ahead and present each one of your topics to the rest of the class. Okay. Okay, wonderful. So I'm gonna let you work. I'm gonna be here if you need me, and of course, let me know anything that you need. Okay, I'm gonna be here every step of the way. Who wants to start presenting? Any volunteers? Not so many. Okay, so let me choose. Tani. We're gonna have Tani, then Ale, and then Tam. Faudi, for the writing assignment, you can send it to me through WhatsApp.
Okay, teacher.
Perfect.
Teacher,
Yes.
say that I can share my screen.
Oh, wait. Okay, please try again. Okay, there we go. Now we can see your screen.
Okay. Well, good evening. I'm going to talk about supply and
Supply.
demand. Sorry?
Supply.
Supply and demand. Well, in simple words, supply is amount put up for the sale by the bidder, the part that sells, and demand is the money that consumers, buyers are willing to offer in the acquisition of the market good. Why is important? Supply and demand determine how much of each good is produced and at what price it must be sold. Price is a guiding signal for both business and consumers, as it indicates how much people are available and willing to pay and how much companies are offering. And that's all.
Okay, so in your own words, how would you define it? So what is the difference between supply and demand?
Okay, I have a debate
Mhm.
because I think that I think that demand is um what people want and what they buy,
Again?
and what people buy. I mean, what they want.
That would be supply. According to
What
you.
supply
No, no, I'm asking like, would that be the definition of supply or demand?
demand, or it's
I think
Yeah.
you're a little bit confused, but okay, go, continue, tell me.
Well, I think that demand is what people pay for. I mean, what they want or not.
Mean you're not entirely wrong, but in simple words, supply is what is put out there to sell. So for example, let's say that you're selling brownies and I am selling brownies. So we're the only two selling brownies here. So that is the supply, what we put there and the price that we are charging for it. Demand is the amount that the market is requesting. For example, maybe I don't know, maybe you and I, we are baking 10 brownies per day. That's a supply, but the demand is how much is needed in a way for the consumers. So maybe 10 brownies being baked by you and by me is not enough. They want more. So in that case, that's when it says like the supply is not enough for the demand, and that's why the product gets sometimes more expensive. Like for example, now with the eggs and everything, so because of the everything that hens are eating and stuff like that, so the price of the eggs has increased because we don't have as many eggs, and also the taking care of a hen, it's expensive now. That's why it's affecting the supply and at the same time the demand, because if there is a lower amount of products produced or sold, then the demand is going to be probably could be higher. It happens, for example, whenever we have like the season vegetables. So whenever people say like, oh no, don't buy it because it is too expensive, that means that the supply is not enough. For that reason, the price of the product increases. So for example, if you go and you buy tomatoes and it's tomato season, then you can buy, I don't know, a kilogram of tomatoes for, I don't know, 1,000 colones. But if you go and you buy on a season that is not the tomato season, then maybe the kilogram of tomato is going to be 2,000, because the amount of tomatoes that are put out there, it's not enough to satisfy the needs of the market, meaning the people. So since there are less amount, people raise the price. So only the ones that are willing to pay for that could actually get them. Am I explaining myself?
Yes,
But you're still confused.
I mean, I think that I understand demand, but supply, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Supply, think about it.
They
Tell me.
put the price.
Yes, exactly. And the amount.
Okay.
Exactly. So for example, if let's say, as I was saying, let's say that I'm the only person baking brownies or the best brownies. So for that reason, and I'm baking, I don't know, 100 brownies per day. However, there are 1,000 customers outside. So I say, okay, since I have so many people waiting for it, like the demand is very big. So as the supplier, I will charge, I don't know, $10 for each brownie. So as the supplier, I can do that. And if the demand is enough, maybe I'm gonna have people that is going to buy it. Like it all depends on the needs of the market. O sea, porque pueden haber momentos en los que algo suba o algo baje de precio, y eso va a depender de la demanda que haya, o sea, de la necesidad que haya por ese producto. Like if many people want it and there are a few, the price goes high. But if not many people need it and the amount is a lot, the price goes down. Como por ejemplo, cuando está lo de las frutas, siempre dicen como que en todos los restaurantes dicen como la fruta de temporada. Eso es porque pueden comprar en cantidad a un precio más barato porque hay tantas que entonces el precio está como very cheap. Pero si es como, por ejemplo, como que usted en este momento del año quiera comer mamones chinos y sabemos que es casi imposible encontrar, entonces si encuentra, es posible que un kilo te cueste hasta 4.000, porque no es la temporada. Pero por eso la demanda significa que entonces estás pidiendo algo o demandando algo en un momento en el que la oferta, the supply, en el que la oferta no es tan grande, por eso sube de precio. ¿Sí me explico? Por ejemplo, tal vez esto ayude a entenderlo. Yo que vivo bueno, a vos creo que les sirve como en Ciudad Quesada hay Uber y así. Entonces, si ustedes llegan, por ejemplo, cuando llueve, que los Ubers se ponen carísimos, eso es porque la demanda por Ubers crece. O sea, están pidiendo tantos Ubers que entonces la aplicación lo que dice, no, todo el mundo necesita, subamos precio y que solo los que estén dispuestos a pagar esa cantidad puedan acceder a Uber. Los que no tienen que esperarse. Entonces, eso significa que la demanda es tan grande y los suplidores o la oferta es tan bajita que por eso pueden darse el lujo de subir el precio. Si la oferta fuera muy grande, entonces el precio se estabiliza, se pone bajito, digamos, por lo mismo, porque hay mucho ahí y más bien la idea es que ojalá que todos los que están ofertando puedan ganar algo. Better.
Yes, better.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Thanks.
You're most welcome, Tam. So I'm not an expert in these cases. I mean, I just know a few things about this, and that's why this is one of the topics that is actually part of TOEIC as well. So that's why I wanted to bring it so you can actually get more information, like everybody. Okay, the next person was Ale, I think. Ale, you ready?
Yeah, teacher, but I tried to do it in Canva, but Canva wasn't working. So I tried to I did it on PowerPoint, but in a way that is more like what you wanted, not just
Okay,
like a presentation.
okay. I'm sure
So
whatever it is
let
gonna
me
be
share.
amazing. Sorry again?
I know I'm going to share.
Okay, go for it.
So of course I'm going to talk about unemployment and inflation. So what is it? Is it a real problem? Unemployment is more like a situation where a lot of people in the entire world is living. And as name indicates, it's a state where you don't have a work, and of course you don't have an economic income. This is something that keeps busy the governments of a lot of countries in the world, and of course it's a real problem even for people that have a job. It's something that we see everywhere, every day, and it's a problem that is getting bigger nowadays.
Yes.
What are some effects of unemployment? Well, psychologically, unemployment, of course, can cause adverse effects for a person, like stress, pessimism, etc. But also, it produces changes in lifestyle due to not knowing how long this state will last and because of the life conditions that it can generate. One of them, of course, becoming homeless. That is something of the biggest problems or effects related to unemployment. Now, let's get to inflation. What is inflation? Well, inflation is when there is an increase in prices of all kinds. In other words, fewer things can be purchased for the same amount than before, thus decreasing the value of the currency over time. This is a problem that in a certain way is basic on economics. On the other hand, it is something that all countries in the world, and therefore most currencies, must face. And it's something that we all see all the time, and it's something that is a real and a serious problem. Now, what are some effects of inflation? Of course, some of the main effects, and maybe a little bit obvious, are decrease on purchasing power. Like I said before, you are not able to buy the same things with the same money quantity than you were able before. Less saving capacity. You are not able to save the same quantity of money because of the currency value or because you need to spend more money on buying essential things. And also, it usually motivates to spend before to avoid the devaluation of the currency. You think, I'm going to spend the money now before the value of the money is lower. And now, to end with this, is there a way to fight against inflation? Of course, it's difficult to tell if there's just like a way, but some good ideas could be with your budget every month and to be sure that you're buying only necessary things, invest in land, real estate, etc. This can help you in a lot of ways and also moderate your debts. This can be something very useful. This was my presentation about my investigation. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Ale. So Ale, again, in simple words, if you could define both of these terms, how would you do it?
Well, unemployment, I guess the best way to define it is when someone is not able to find a job and doesn't have an economic income.
Mm-hmm.
And inflation is when the value of the money gets lower and you're not able to buy the same things that you were able before with the same quantity.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, exactly. It's pretty much inflation. Well, employment, you already said it. And inflation, it's one of those things when things get more expensive. For example, like if you go and like, I don't know, like if in the past you could buy, using the same examples, like 1 kilogram of tomatoes for 1,000, and now it's 1,500 colones. So now you know that you need to put more money to buy the same amount of tomatoes, and the same thing for every single thing that you buy. So the amount of money that you used to have free is decreasing because of inflation. And as you said, to control it is very difficult. It's still the governments around the world, they try to control inflation, but it is very difficult, since it's pretty much like how prices increase on a given or a specific amount or period of time. So yeah, that was actually pretty good, Ali. Thank you. Guys, this is just a quick question for all of you. Do you think, or no, what do you think about this? People say that the unemployment rate is increasing. However, I have seen that there are many places hiring people. However, these people cannot opt for one of the jobs being offered because they don't speak English or a second language. So do you think that it's their fault? What do you think about this? This is for everybody, not just for Ali, to know your point of view before moving into Tam's presentation. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I think that there are some jobs where it's completely necessary for the person that is going to work there to know a second language. But it depends. I think in some cases it should be more open for everyone because not of all people have had the, well, possibility of learning a second language. And I think all the people have, well, must have the possibility to work. But I think it depends on which work you are going to apply for.
Thank you.
So
what?
no, yeah. So basically, I don't think it's the fault of the people for not knowing a second language yet.
Thank you. Okay, Tam, Fabri, and Tani. Do you want to add something? Go, sorry.
Well, I think like Andy, it depends of the job. I think nowadays is better if you know other language. You have more opportunities. You will have more opportunities.
Opportunities, correct. Okay, Fabri or Tam?
Well, I think, teacher, is because of constant and growth, globalization that is presented every day in our daily lives. So we are constantly more or we're near to other people or closer to other people that comes from other countries, or we have more interaction in the virtual world. So what I think, what is demanding more today is the use of a second language, because it gives you the opportunity to achieve these things we're doing right now, that is to have um, um, like a more constant interaction with other people worldwide.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, Fabri. Tam, do you want to add anything to this? Nothing, you already did, right? No, you haven't, right? Okay.
No, teacher, but I agree with they. I think
With them.
with them, sorry. Um, some jobs it need that you speak English, but depends of the job, and it can give you more opportunities to speak a second language.
I agree with you guys. However, the reason why I wanted to bring this is because since I was a kid, imagine how many hundreds of years ago that might have been. Since I was a kid, people have said, "Oh, like I mean, learning English or learning a second language, especially English, it's gonna be mandatory for the future. It's gonna be mandatory, blah blah blah." And I knew that, I understood that, so I did everything that I could to learn English. Now I know that speaking more than 2 languages is going to be mandatory in a few years, and I'm still young. So in order to be competitive for the market, I am thinking about learning another language. I don't know if it's gonna, I mean, I'm still deciding if I'm gonna go for French or Italian or something else or Portuguese. But I mean, I know that's mandatory. So I'm already thinking about that, and I'm creating a plan to learn a third language. But my point is, because I feel like something that I have seen is that people know that this is mandatory. And now I'm gonna be honest, now learning a second language is basic, is like learning how to read. Like if you really want to be competitive in the market, you must know a second language. And not only know a second language, as I have told you several times, and I usually tell my students in general, nowadays finding people who speak English is very easy. However, finding people that speak remarkable English, that's the thing that is not that easy. So if I go out there and look for people that speak English, I know I'm going to find many people. However, are all of those remarkable speakers of the language? That's the question. So that's why the reason why I'm telling you this is because, like, as you, since you're very young and all of you are brilliant, because I know all of you are super intelligent, keep that in mind, that as people and as workers, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not rich, so I need to keep myself competitive for the market. For the reason, we need to be like in the lookout and start thinking, okay, what do I need next? For example, when I was younger, having a bachelor's degree in a licenciatura was good. Like if you already had a licenciatura, that was good. Nowadays, having a master's is good. So just having a bachelor's in a licenciatura is no longer enough for my generation. So what did I do? Some years ago, I thought about this. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get into a master's. So now I'm gonna be, actually, I finished last year. So I'm gonna be graduating very soon from the master's. Why? Because I wanna keep competitive in the world. Because if you're competitive, then you are adding value to that, and then you're gonna be wanted by companies or institutions. If you remain in the safe space, then you're not wanted, but you need to accept whatever they give you. So if they want to give you a job that is Monday through Saturday working from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m., you have to accept it unless you find something better. But finding something better might be difficult if your curriculum is not as outstanding as other people. So I'm gonna be honest, I'm very tired of studying because I've done like many things in studying, but I have considered about starting a PhD. In case that you're not familiar with, PhD is the highest degree that you can get. So we have a minor's degree, a bachelor's degree, a licenciatura, a master's, and a PhD. So if I get a PhD, I'll be like in the highest degree if I get a PhD. So I don't need it right now, but I'm afraid that I'm going to need it in a few years. So I'm already thinking about the fact that I should study a PhD. So that's why the reason why I'm telling you this is because of this, like inflation and everything affects in a way this, because if things get more expensive and you don't have more degrees, then you cannot expect your salary to get better. But if inflation increases and your salary is increasing, then you can in a way compensate. Okay, so that was just food for thought for you to think about this. Now, without any further ado, we're gonna move with Tam.
Okay. So I'm gonna talk a little about perfect and imperfect competition. Okay, perfect competition is like a hypothetical economic scenario where all companies offers identical products and the price isn't determined by them or their market share. And imperfect competition is an economic scenario too, where companies and their market share to influence the price of products and where buyers don't know all the information regarding the market and prices, basically. So some characteristics about perfect competition are the producers enter and exit the market without any barriers. Okay, this means that there is an impediment of fair products or to stop doing so. Then the second one is consumers and businesses are perfectly similar to market. Okay, they know about the relationship about quality and price of a product, the options available, and the utility of each one. And the third one is producers have a similar influence on the market. Okay, this means that producers trade according to market in general. Some examples are online sales and emerging technologies. And some characteristics about imperfect competition are this occurs when one or more conditions of perfect competition are not met, and it is a situation that is present in today's world. And one example of imperfect competition is credit card companies such as Visa or Mastercards, because there are a few suppliers for a large number of demanders worldwide. And basically, I understand that in imperfect competition, not all producers have the same possibilities and scope, and perfect competition they do. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Teacher, I can't hear you.
Yes, I was muted. I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me know. No, I was saying that was really good. Thank you. Super quick. Hypothetical. Yes, I know it's a long word, so it makes perfect sense. So hypothetical, that's the first thing. And the other word that is determine. Yes, it's because it's
Okay,
super
thank
common.
you.
Yes, you're most welcome. It's super common. I've found many people that say determine, but it's because it makes perfect sense to pronounce it like that, but the right word is determined. So that means the right pronunciation. So, but really, really good. And I like that you knew, like you were, if I don't explain this in simple words at the end, the teacher is gonna ask me and you were right. And you did it. So I think that was just very suitable. That was really good. Thank you. Okay, guys, now we're gonna move into something. There is something about the stock. Do you know, have you ever heard about the term stock, like the stock market? No, don't worry. It's perfectly fine if you haven't. That was the whole point of having this class related to economy a little bit. So this, I mean, I'm not an expert, just in case, but I know a little bit about it. So the stock market is pretty much, let's say that you have a company, like in the Shark Tank, pretty much, that's the perfect example. You have a company and you go and you say, okay, I'm going to say that this company is divided into 1,000 shares. A share is pretty much una acción. So like 1,000 shares, serán 1,000 acciones. And I'm going to say, and I'm going to put them out there to be sold. okay? So for example, Tom, you can say, oh, I want, I don't know, 100. So if it is 1,000, then that means that you own 10% of the company. So if the company is getting money, you will be getting some money. And also, if the company is valued at a higher price, then your shares, your stock is going to increase. Okay. So if the company, when we launched the company the first week, if it was worth 2 million, and in 3 years, because it has grown a lot and it's very famous and blah, 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 and instead of the company being worth 2 million, is worth 20 million, the same is going to happen with your shares. O sea, básicamente cada vez que la compañía sube de precio, lo mismo pasa con las acciones. ¿Por qué? Porque el precio de la compañía va a estar ligado al precio de las acciones. ¿Ok? So, the reason why I wanted to give you this quick introduction is because now we're going to watch a video on how does the stock market work, because this is very important. And also it's very trendy right now. Like a lot of people talk about the stock market. So I wanted you to know a little bit about this. So I found a video that explains in simple ways, how does it work, what is everything, and all of these things. So let's go ahead and watch the video. Let me share my screen. Okay. Wait. Okay, can you see my screen right now?
Yes,
Yes.
teacher.
Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and watch the video.
Investing in the stock market can seem like a crazy prospect for a generation of young adults that have 2 cents in their pocket and a $100,000 student loan for a degree that they don't use. But when it's done right, you can take that 2 cents, turn it into 3 cents, and well, that's more than you had yesterday. And isn't that the goal? In all seriousness, the stock market is often perceived as a big scary abyss of money that eats unsuspecting investors alive and is the path to a magnitude of wealth for those that understand it. While those perceptions can be true, understanding the stock market and succeeding in making money with it is far easier than you might expect. In order to understand the stock market, first, we need to understand just what a stock is. A stock, otherwise known as a share, is a financial token or instrument that signifies ownership of a company in some proportion. Basically, if Amazon had 1,000 shares and you bought 1 share, you would own 1/1000th of Amazon. In reality, Amazon and companies alike have millions of shares. But that sums up the point. When you own a stock, that means that you own a portion of that company, and as the value of that company increases, so does your stock price. There are also common and preferred stocks, which refer to the voting rights of a shareholder. Common shares have voting rights, and preferred shares don't. When you have voting rights, you can vote on things like board elections, mergers, and other financial decisions. Preferred shares, however, are called that because they get preference when a company pays a dividend, which is basically a split of the profit of a company with the shareholder, and they also get preference in other financial situations. Stocks can get much more complicated than that, but these simple understandings will serve enough to the basic investor. The next thing you might be wondering is why exactly companies will sell stocks. And that answer is simple: to get money. Stocks allow a company to raise massive amounts of operating capital with essentially no extra effort or product. The modern stock market often bases the value of a company off its potential earnings down the line. This means that relatively small companies can earn millions, or even billions, if investors think that they can succeed in the future. So then, if a company wants to sell their shares, they need a place to do it. Enter the stock market. Companies list shares by selling them through an initial public offering, or IPO, on an exchange. This essentially changes the status of a company from a privately held business to a publicly traded one. IPOs can let company founders cash out their stake or just let the company raise money. Once a company's stocks are listed on an exchange, the public can trade them. Usually prices will fluctuate based off of public opinion, but the more concrete trends and fluctuations are usually dependent upon a company's company's earnings and operations. These can be measured by PE ratios, or price to earnings ratios, as well as a variety of other metrics. This is usually where casual investors get scared and their eyes start to glaze over. But fear not, it's not as complicated as it sounds. Next, we need to understand how and why a share price fluctuates. The stock market is composed of millions of investors and individual traders who all feel different ways about a company. They all make independent choices, and the net of those choices result in the positive or negative movement of a stock. If more people buy, then the price has to climb. If everyone wants out of a company, then the price falls due to lack in purchasing demand. An example might be this. Say you post something on Craigslist for $100. After posting, you get 100 emails saying they'll come to purchase your item all cash right now. Most people at this point might start thinking that they priced their item too low and thus raise the price until, in theory, it reaches the most that the one single last buyer will pay for it. Conversely, if you receive no offers, you'll likely keep dropping the price until someone bites. This is similar to how the stock market moves, except that the price rise and drop isn't done consciously, rather by millions of transactions every second, supply and demand, which brings us to that topic. For every stock purchase or sale, there has to be a buyer and a seller. If there are more buyers, then the price will go up. If there are more sellers, the price will go down. Traders often might talk about the bid.
Sorry, guys, you see, it's exactly what I was telling you, Tani. So if there are many suppliers, it's like the example of the fruits. Si tenemos como que lots and lots of tomatoes or things like that, then the price is going to go down because there's so many out there that you can get them anywhere. So cualquiera los vende, entonces, si este me cobra 2,000, aquí le va a cobrar 1,000, aquí puede que me cueste hasta 500. That happens a lot with fruits whenever they are under season. For example, like, well, I don't know, I'm thinking about, because I love mamones chinos, like I really love them. And I remember when they were, when it's a season, at the beginning, they were like 2,500 colones per kilogram. And I remember close to the end, I got like a kilo for like 500 colones. So it is started in 200, 2,500. And at the end of the season, I mean, or close to that, it was like 500. Why? Because at the beginning, not everybody has them. So the price goes up because just a few people have them. And so they are charging more and more and more to see who is going to pay for that. And if people pay for that, they keep on increasing the price. But if there are too many people offering the same thing, the price goes down because at the end, they still want to sell. So they are selling for a more appropriate or moderate price. You see everything. I thought about this, so just to make sure that you would kind of understand a little bit better how the stock market works. Okay, let's go. Oh, do you have any questions? Are you understanding? Yes,
Yes,
okay,
teacher.
cool. Awesome. So let's continue with the video.
Ask spread, which basically means the difference between the bid, or what someone is willing to pay to buy a share, and the ask, or what someone is willing to sell a share for. Supply and demand is fairly simple to understand at the end of the day. If more people want something, that thing, in this case a stock, will be more expensive. At the start of stock markets, matching buyers to sellers was done manually on a trading floor. Now it's mostly done automatically by trading systems. This allows the market to move much faster and creates the breakneck pace that any casual onlooker notices when watching the stock market. Now, you might be wondering, well, I don't have time to understand this, and why should I even invest anyway when I can earn 2 to 3% just keeping it in a bank on a high side? Well, the answer is pretty simple. If you do it right, you can make a lot of money. Using a common example that you might have heard, if you bought $1,000 of Amazon stock back in 1997, you'd have roughly $1.5 million today. Now, that's a long investment timeline, but I think most people would agree that the purchase would be worth it. Other companies often provide return rates like 30 to 70% each year, which is still going to build you a lot of wealth compared to that 2 to 3% each year kept in a bank account. In essence, as long as you're able to make more than 3% in the stock market, you're doing better with your money than just keeping it in the bank. Now that we understand the stock market to be a real-time marketplace where you can purchase a part of companies you think will succeed, the next step is to figure out how. The first thing you'll need is a trading account. You can start one with common providers like E-Trade or other major banking institutions, but you can also use free trading services like Robinhood. Common trading services will charge fees for every trade you make, but new tech companies like Robinhood have made everything completely free. That means you can invest all of your money in a company and not worry about paying fees to the brokerage. We have a link below to start a Robinhood account where you can get a free stock to download that if you'd like. Once you have an account in any trading service, you have to decide what companies or multiple companies' stock to purchase, which is arguably the hard part. You also have to have a certain amount of money. Stocks range from a few cents to many thousands of dollars. The key thing about stocks is that you can't purchase part of one. It's either all or nothing. If you want to invest in Amazon, you'll need at least $1,800, at least at the time of recording, to get started. But you can buy much cheaper, well-rated companies for a few bucks. Before you make a purchase, you want to do extensive research to make sure you understand what a company does to make money, whether they're in good financial standings, and also see what experts think about a company and whether you should buy it. At the end of the day, you do have to assume some risk, so it's important you only invest money you're capable of surviving without, at least for a little while, or until a certain stock comes back up if it does fall on harsh times. In this video, we've covered the basics of the stock market, how it functions, and ways to get started with it. We didn't cover much of the technical analysis that goes into evaluating a company, much of the terminology around stock trading, or even ways to trade without actually having the money you're purchasing stocks with, called margin. And that's okay. For the beginning investor, the best way to learn the stock market and to get involved is to take a few bucks you're okay with losing and getting your hands dirty and invest wisely.
Okay, guys. So do you have any questions, any concerns, any doubts in regards to the stock market?
Yes, teacher, I couldn't understand that if you are a part of the owner of the part of a stock, you have to pay a fee to the company that you work for.
Yes, but no. What happens is you don't pay a fee to the company that you in a way own a little bit. You pay the fee to the representative. So for example, what they were talking about E-Trade and all these companies is that they are like your representative. So they come here and they say, okay, you say, I'm going to start with them. So I am E-Trade and I say, okay, Faudy, I'm going to help you with this. I'm going to take your money and I'm going to keep everything updated with your money, your shares, and everything. And that is that I don't charge you for that, but I charge you when you sell or buy. So if you have a stock in Amazon or in Intel or I don't know, Dell or any other company, and then you decide to sell, when you sell, that's what I get a little bit. So like I'm not gonna charge you for having the company with me. I'm gonna charge you for the money that you're making by selling it. Like saying, like, if you're winning money, like earning money, I'm also earning money. That's why they said also that there are companies such as Robinhood, where, and it's very interesting because if you know, Robinhood is it's from Mattel, which is someone that would steal money from the rich and give it to the poor. So it's very interesting that they're giving that name to the company, because what they were saying is that Robinhood is not charging any fees or any money to the people that open an account with them. And again, they are just representatives, like they belong there. Okay, so because you can't, as far as I know, that I'm not sure, but as far as I know, you can't walk into the stock market and say, okay, I have $1,000, who wants them? Like, no, you can't. You need someone that is already inside or that knows how everything works to guide you or to let you play with it. Okay, so, and that is where the companies such as E-Trade and Robinhood and all these different things, they work, or what they do for that pretty much. Better.
Yes, so most of the time normal people can't like be part of it because they don't know or are very involved with the company and their concerns.
Anyone can be part of it. Like, for example, if you have some money and you want to invest, you can go ahead and open an account on E-Trade or Robinhood or any of these companies. And they will, in a way, help you with that. So you can absolutely be part of it. What you are right is that not a lot of people understand the stock market. And for that reason, many people don't want to do that. Because also, I mean, I think it's such an interesting topic. Because maybe, for example, you go and you say, I have $1,000. I'm going to buy a portion of or some stocks for, I don't know, Intel. But for example, when I was working at Intel, like 2 years ago, the stock was like $60 per share. Right now, the stock market for Intel is like $20 or $30 per share. So it has decreased like 50%. So if I paid, let's say $50 or $60, and now the price of the same stock is $20, I am losing a lot of money. That's why some people, they don't like to invest because, I mean, it's a risk. You could be making lots of money or losing lots of money as well. Because, I mean, you don't know how that's going to work. For that reason, there are a lot of people out there that sometimes, I don't know how good this is, but I have seen people that they supposedly understand the stock market, like how the companies work. So they offer you the service or like a course for you to understand that. So they teach you like what you need to know to invest so you can use your money and put it in the right places or pretty much in a wise way. So you will be multiplying your earnings and not decreasing them.
So
Tell me.
it is clear, but for example, it is better to invest in very well-known companies such as Amazon because they are not very likely to lose its capital.
That is a great comment, and I partially agree with it because that's a good point of view. However, based on what I have heard, again, I'm not an investor and I don't know, I don't have any money invested at the moment, but based on what I have heard, when you learn how the stock market works, it's better to identify rising and upcoming companies. So for example, let's say that Tam is going to create her own company for programming. Technology, it's a very, very good market to invest. So maybe Tam is starting. So right now her company, every share is like $2. But since Tam is brilliant and she's going to make this amazing company, in a year or in 2 years, every share, instead of being $2, it could be $6. And if I had 10 shares, instead of having $20, I'm going to have $60. So I'm going to have triple that amount. So that means that I would have done a lot of money. Sometimes these stable companies, since they are very stable, it's difficult for them to increase or decrease. So they stay there. So if you pay for example, right now, the stock market for Amazon, as the video said, is at $1,800 per share. So that's what you have to pay for only one. So my point is that share would need to increase its value at least at 3%. And that means, let me get it real quick. So if you have 1,040.03, so that means that in order to get at least a 3%, that stock or that share needs to increase or move from $1,800 to $1,854. If it doesn't increase those $54, you're not getting not even a 3% of earnings. That's what I'm saying. Again, this is a very, very broad topic and like a very interesting one. There's so many things to consider and so many things going on there. But yes, sometimes it could be good or sometimes it could be good to pay attention to those companies that they look promising. Because if you invest in one of those that look promising, you could be making a lot more money and with less money than if you invest in Amazon, for example. And I'm going to use Tam as an example again. I'm making you a company owner, so you have to get a company now. So if I see Tam in her company, and again, it's a very promising and great and everything, and I invest $1,000, maybe, and it looks good and it starts getting better and bigger and everything, in a year or two, instead of having $1,000, I could have $3,000, and I only invested $1,000. However, for Amazon, for only one share, I need to pay almost $2,000, and it's very impossible, let's say, or very difficult for Amazon to duplicate the price of the stock in 2 years. Like in 2 years, I don't think my stock from Amazon is gonna go from $1,800 to $3,000. That is almost impossible. It's because Amazon is at a very stable rate right now. It would be better to invest in a company that looks pretty promising and that is just like starting or something like that. Again, I'm not an expert, so there are many things also to consider, but yes. Am I answering your doubts?
Yes, so it also depends on how the economy moves daily, right?
100% true. For example, as I said, and I mentioned this on Monday, I don't know if you were here when I said this. Due to the pandemic, right now, the world is facing a little bit of a crisis. So some companies are firing people and all these things. Why am I saying this? These companies are firing people because they are not making as much money as they hope they were. So since they're not making that much money, they need to fire people, okay? In order not to go bankruptcy, okay? So that's what I'm gonna say. Intel, as I told you before, Intel moved from having their shares for more than $50 to less than $30. So if you had, for example, $3,000 in shares, that decreased to 1,500. Imagine the loss. O sea, solo ahí estarías perdiendo $1,500 solo por el hecho de que la crisis económica ha afectado a la compañía y el precio de la acción ha bajado a la mitad o menos. So that's why I told you, it is super risky. It's great and it's interesting and everything, but it could be very risky because right now, because of the crisis, some companies are not making that much money. So the stock market is actually changing. And let me go ahead and show you real quick. We can say that into, I'm gonna use that one, into stock. I like that you're so interested in the topic. I think that's so interesting. Okay, let me show you. Okay, here we go. Let me show you my screen real quick. This is from the web. You can actually get that information as well. Okay, can you see it now? So look,
Yes.
this is just one day. So do you see how it changes? And this is just today. If you go and you look at it from 5 days, you see? So it started, this was on February 23rd. The stock was at $25.99. However, here on the 24th, a day after, it decreased to $24.99. So $1 less. So if you had 100 shares, you lost $100 because you lost $1 per each one of them. Then it increased a little bit to 25.57. So you were like getting back that you lost, but then you lost it again. And it goes like this. You see here, it was really bad. It was at 24.81, but then something happened and it increased to almost the same amount. And for example, here, you see? So this is year to date. So meaning from January the 1st until right now. So the best time has been February the 3rd, when every share was to $30. After that, it has been decreasing. It increased a little bit, but it decreased a lot, and now it's trying to increase a little bit, but just a little. And if you do 1 year, you see, it was in $51, 51, and right now it's in 25. So it's not even half. O sea, ni siquiera llegó a la mitad. O sea, está en menos de la mitad de lo que estuvo hace un año. So you see, that's what I'm telling you. This is super interesting because it could go super high, it could go super low. And now let's change to Amazon. Okay, you see, Amazon was, every share was at $94. And there you go. Let's see 1 year. You see, so a year ago, every share was $168. And then it decreased to 104. Imagine. So 168 minus 104. So you are losing $64 per share. So imagine the amount of money that you're losing just because of that. Just give me a second, guys. Somebody's knocking on my door. Okay, so that's what I was telling you. This topic is very interesting. I wish I could know more about this because I think it's very interesting and interesting enough that is actually usually part of what TOEIC or TOEFL or any of these tests include, because economics is a very important topic. Guys, do you have any more questions in regards to this or any more doubts? I actually know someone that I think could know about this, but I don't know if I could, because I think he doesn't speak English like to this level to explain all these terms in English. So I don't know if I can bring him. But if you want to know more, let me know and we can do something, like schedule something with him or something. But anyway, do you have any more questions at the moment? Probably like everybody minus Foudy me is like Tani, Tam and Ali's like, this is so boring. I hate it. Like, what is this?
Teacher,
Tell me.
how can that appear in the TOEIC, or you don't know?
Sorry again?
How can that appear in the TOEIC, or you don't know?
I mean, they don't ask you specific things, but they sometimes what they do is that they include, it could be in many ways. When it comes to TOEIC, they include this type of information sometimes, and it could be reading comprehension. So they could give you a reading, but if you don't know anything, like you don't know what's, for example, supply and demand, if you don't know what's inflation, if you don't know any of these things, then how are you going to understand, right? It could also be a listening. They could say, for example, so the unemployment rate has increased to blah, 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 leading or causing blah, 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 blah. And then the questions will be like, based on the previous audio, it can be stated or infer that and ask you certain things. I'm actually trying to prepare a listening practice. I got some listenings similar to the ones that we have in TOEIC. So I'm actually trying to prepare something, not for today, of course, but like very soon, because I got access to that. So I'm trying to get that so I can bring it to one of our classes. So you have an idea, like a closer idea of how one of their tests is like.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome. Any more questions, any more comments at the moment? Nope. Okay. Well, guys, let's move into the following part of the class. So, as you know, writing, as we have seen as well, TOEIC analyzes pretty much every single part of the language, like every single area. We, of course, do place a special emphasis on speaking because it's also what FundaTEC is known for and what I am known for as well. However, writing at the same as reading or listening is very important. That's why we exercise every single area. So now, based on the topic that we're talking about, company and economics and everything, and critical thinking, as always, the following task is you're gonna be able to exercise your critical thinking in your judgmental part or your judging part. So I'm going to be sending you right now here through the chat a quick email, let's say, that comes from the manager or the owner of a company. Based on the email, you are part of the company. Okay, you of course in another 349 people. So the company is at risk of going bankruptcy. Do you know the term of bankruptcy or bankruptcy?
Like bancarrota.
Exactly, which is like when the company pretty much is about to close. So this company is about to go to bankruptcy. What you have to do is, based on the email and all the information that you have there, you have to design a plan. Would you fire people? Would you hire people? Would you reduce the benefits? What would you do and why? That's the most important part. Why? So based on that, I'm going to send you the information over here in the chat, and you're going to write the email, okay? There you have the information in the chat. So I'm going to give you some time to go ahead and come up. Of course, I'm not going to give you like 5 minutes. I'm going to give you more time. But I'm going to give you some information for you to go ahead and post that. And create the plan. What would you do? Okay. Do it first in a written form because the idea is that then we can read it. But let's work on that real quick. I want to see how critical you can be and which decisions are you making and based on what. Okay. Okay. So I feel like not all of you are ready. So I had this idea and I think this could be cool. So on Monday, we're gonna stop here for today so you can go in and have dinner or rest or so. But on Monday, we're gonna be connecting and well, hopefully we're gonna be connecting and we're going to have our first team meeting, like in any company. They usually have team meetings. And each one of you is gonna be presenting your plan, like in a round table. So each one of you is gonna be presenting which decisions you believe the company should make and why. Okay, so we're gonna have this sort of round table. Each one of you is gonna have the time to talk. You can present anything, even if you want, for example, if you're saying, okay, I believe that this company should know everything is possible. Be crazy about it. Like if you want to change the location of the headquarters, if you want to reduce the amount of headcount is like the employees. If you want to increase the amount of headcount or reduce benefits, anything that you consider is possible, just be creative and try to find a solution. Maybe the solution is to go bankruptcy. Who knows? So, but think about it, work maybe a little bit harder on your plan. And then on Monday, we're going to have some time for you to present your plan in a round table. So every single member of this company is going to be able to listen to your proposal and also be opinionated about your proposal. Okay? Okay, with that before I let you go, two things. First, sorry. Besides that, remember that on Monday we're gonna have a speaking assignment, nothing extraordinary, and of course you're super ready for anything that has to do with speaking. So that's gonna be like money in the bank. But just for you to know that we have that speaking assignment on Monday, and I think that's pretty much it at the moment. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Take good care of you. Enjoy and rest during the weekend, and I'll be more than happy to see you on Monday.
Sorry, teacher, the speaking assignment is the final one.
What do you mean by the final one?
Uh, the last speaking test or quiz we had to present.
Yes, but no. Yes, because it's the one that I will be leading, let's say. However, it's not the last thing, because remember that we also have the speaking sessions, which are for the ones that you told me which topic you will be talking about. So we're missing the one on Monday. It has, you don't have to prepare anything like any presentation or anything. This is just something that I'm gonna tell you. And later, this is next week is week 7. Can you imagine? We're just 2 weeks away, guys. 2 weeks away from finishing. I believe like this bimester has gone like this. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like it has been so fast. I'm gonna tell you that I'm gonna miss you. Like I know that we still have 2 more weeks and I'm gonna treasure them, but I'm gonna miss you a lot because I don't know if I'm gonna see you the next semester. So if I don't, I'm gonna miss you a lot. But anyway, I am already very proud and happy about everything that you have done. But we're still not done. We still have the meeting on Monday, the team meeting, like a good company does. And then we have the speaking assignment and then the speaking session, which is individual, and each one of you should plan to make sure the others talk. Of course, you're going to be presenting some information, but aside from that, the idea is also to make sure the others talk. So we're only missing these 2 things, the speaking part and the final presentations. That's it, the speaking session, sorry. These 2 things, and that will be all for this bimester.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
You're most welcome, Faudy. Any other question, any other concern, anything else I can do for you?
No, teacher.
Okay, well, again, that being said, I hope you have an amazing weekend. Take good care of you. Enjoy, rest, eat something delicious, smile, have fun, and I'll see you on Monday.
Thank you, teacher. Good
Thanks,
night.
teacher.
Bye, thank
Good
you.
night, take care. And I hope you eat cake, Ale.
Mhm.
No, I'm kidding. Go enjoy. Bye-bye.
Bye.